All right, good morning. Today is Wednesday, um, March 27th, 2019. I am to speak from 2 Peter. 2 Peter 2, my father says that the time and hour of his judgment is clearly underway, and I have arrived, that everything is in place. He sent me one simple dream. Well, he sent me a number of dreams yesterday evening, but then this morning he sent me a simple dream where I was making my way with a friend to a restaurant, a particular restaurant that served a particular dish, and you would think that it would be a part of a chain, the way he was describing it, because it was a particular part of a chain, and there was supposed to be a location that was resident within the church property, which I was aware of. And I was around the corner from, where I grew up, where I lived. All this is symbolic. Tiana Laurie said, we in Edgar Casey can help you understand your dreams. The thing is, see, I did not ask her for help. And she said, we're all in this together. And I said, no, we're not. From every step I have taken in my awakening process, there has been a teacher, but the teacher has been my father for me. It has never been you. I have studied amongst you to see what it is that you were teaching, but never were you my teachers. I told you straight up a story that I had of some Reiki master who told me that, when he called himself having the ability to jest with me, when I just in return told me I was being disrespectful, and that I needed to get me a master down here and subscribe to that. And I told you that's when I clearly and most audibly heard spirit. One of my guides, Thomas, some of you know him as Doubting Thomas in the Bible, he said, "You are the master." That man is a lunatic, and I did block him. I told him I would not be requiring any more need of his service or anything like that, because he was a Reiki master. I know what their story is. It's all about them trying to learn how Christ did the healing, and they came to introduce the technique of the laying of symbols or whatnot, the transferring of energy, but at the same time having to charge the people for it, because the people, it didn't stick, the healing. They had to have an investment in it. So that's why they started, charging them money. Because where you invest that what you say you have toiled for, that's what you actually are paying for. So I blocked that man. I had no more conversation with him. I was introduced to him by Colette Perry. That man was dishonest even in his business practices, because he worked out of Canada. And he told me, because I drove up there, I had done an Alaskan cruise, a Hay House cruise, and we were at his workshop. And he was attuning me and stuff, and he was reading my energy. I mean, he was all up in my grill, from afar, and getting me ready. And I was supposed to come up there, and he told me how to cross the border, what to tell the people, because what he was doing was cash under the table, and he didn't want them to know that I was contracting his services. And I got a room, and I drove up there to stay overnight and let him do his little prayer and meditation and spitting on the back of my neck. And he said, normally I see Christ, but I didn't see Christ here. I saw Kuan Yin. And like I told you when I told this story before, why would Christ appear in spirit form for you when he was already there in the flesh? This is not coincidental, people. This is actual penning of a story and physicality that you seem to want to say you don't have to worry about. I'm not going to play this game with you. Like I said, I was making my way to that church, and the neighborhood was devoid of parking in the sense that a lot of cars were gone, and I was like, now where are the people at? Because normally this neighborhood would be packed, and I always wonder where the people at when they ain't there. Why are there no cars parked on either side of the street? There were a few, but not as many as you would think for all that's supposed to live there. And I went to the church, or I should say my friend. He was driving. I was just riding along. And I said, well, that's where you turn in. And I said, but apparently that restaurant has been shuttered from that church. And the parking lot is padlocked and gated. So we will not be eating here. The dream was very clear in meaning to me. My father has shuttered the church, the Christian church, as you know it. For those of you who are in it, meaning that you did not stray and you're still subscribing to the teachings, then you are still working that program. But for all others who have left, there is no return. There is no coming back. The second coming was all about you and what 2 Peter speaks to. And what I now must go over with you, because apparently you don't seem to understand it, but that's okay, because the thing is, you still won't understand it. You have the mindset that you can re-script a past life. You can't. Not in the way that you think. 2 Peter, verse 2. Now, I'm going to post a New International Version for you to reflect upon and reflect upon again. But this I'm reading from is this Gideon Bible. 2 Peter chapter 2. But there were also false prophets among the people, just as there will be false teachers amongst you, the kind that will shrewdly introduce ruinous heresies, even denying the master who brought them, and so bringing on themselves swift destruction. Many will follow along in their shameless ways, on whose account the way of the truth will be maligned. Now, you should already know that the story of Christ is a real story. You either believed it or you did not. You came to it either at the beginning or later in life. You know, your life. You've had many. That's not the problem. But what you think you have learned and mastered, and now you can break away from, well, you did break away, and now you're out there teaching. But what are you teaching? Heresy and ruinous behavior. And you are leading others down that same pathway. The story is unfolding. It cannot be stopped. It is underway. You might not believe that there is such a thing as hell, but you are headed there. Motivated by greed, they will exploit you with their counterfeit arguments. That's what you're doing, spiritual people, as you call yourself, maligning religion, true religion, righteously practiced. I'm not talking about this bullshit that other people buy into to basically do subterfuge with you. That has always been your Achilles heel, that you want to play the blame game. No. See, they're as guilty as you are, and you attacking religion does not bode well for you in an argument. It actually undermines the very argument you're trying to make, because neither one of you understand the tenets of religious ideology and practice. the way it was subscribed to, or supposed to be subscribed to, by man, taught by man, not undermined by man and his mate. See, women say we can do the same thing that men do, but at the same time, why do you practice it the same? That's not an argument you want to make. In fact, that's one you want to get away from. You don't want to be like any kind of man. And you don't want to be there saying, well, I'm all this, when I'm not. From of old, their sentence has been hanging over them, and their destruction has not been dormant. That means, as you call yourself going back to what is familiar to you, you were already poised for destruction. You were supposed to come away from that, but you chose to return to it. See, I didn't write this Bible, people. This particular verse or chapter of Peter was given to Peter as he learned from the Son of God, what y'all know as Jesus Christ. Whether you want to call him Yeshua or whatever you want to call him. See, I don't want to argue with you about how you came to understand or translate or rename something, rebrand it, rescript it, put out all these various versions, because see, the truth is still core value in there. You either know it or you don't. You either see beyond the blurring of the line or you do not. It is not for me to raise you from a level of consciousness to one that is not confused. You do that on your own. For if God did not spare the angels who sinned, but committed them to the black dungeons of hell to be kept for judgment, that means all the angels that were fallen, Lucifer himself and his following, he kept them in reserve for his judgment, which is underway. And they are wielding powerful forces within the world, and you don't understand what is happening. You don't understand why these people are losing their mind. You don't understand why people are dying, good people. Are you familiar with Pharaoh? The story of Pharaoh, where he was amassing the Libyan army as henchmen to kill the first blood or the firstborn of Israel. But that curse fell upon, Pharaoh in the house of Egypt. God said, no, you will not kill my people. But what you will do is die. That's ain't faith, because you spoke it out of your own mouth. That's the truth of your manifesting ways. As you sit there and you speak heresy in the eyes of God, when you're supposed to know better. And did not spare the ancient world, but preserved Noah, a preacher of righteousness, and 7 with him, when he brought a flood upon a godless world. And if he condemned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah by turning them to ashes, an example to show the godless what is to happen to them. And if he rescued upright Lot, distressed as he was by the immoral behavior of the lawless. For day after day, as that righteous man lived amongst them, his upright soul was tortured at seeing and hearing their lawless doings. What do you think I see? Am I Lot? I'm my father's son. I have been distressed because I see you committing suicide, literally and figuratively. For day after day, as that righteous man lived amongst them, his upright soul was tortured at seeing and hearing their lawless doings. Then the Lord knows how to rescue the godly from temptation and to keep the wicked under punishment for the day of judgment. This is especially true of those who yield to fleshly desires, indulge in polluting passions, and despise authority. Bold, headstrong as they are, they have no qualms at libeling glorious beings whereas angels far superior to them in strength and might do not pronounce a defaming judgment against them before the Lord. That is funny. Y'all have to look at this. I mean, seriously. These, however, like irrational brutes that are naturally born to be caught and killed, while maligning what they do. Pay attention, people, because this is really quite interesting of a read. My father said, 2 Peter. Not now will also be destroyed in the same destruction. They will be punished with suffering for the suffering they caused. You cut cords. You undermine an institution, even as you were once members of that institution. You have returned to your lawless state of awareness. Revelry during the day is their ideal of enjoyment. They are foul blots and blemishes that revel in their lust as they stuff themselves at your table. See, they're the light. They're supposed to turn back the darkness, that which they cannot peer through, that which they cannot cut, that which outnumbers them, that which will consume them. They have their eyes full of adultery, and their appetite for sin is never satisfied. They lure unsteady souls. Their hearts are practiced in greed, accursed children, leaving the straight path they have strayed as they have followed in the tracks of Balaam, the son of Bozar, who loved the wages of wickedness, but he was rebuked for his own misdeed. A dumb beast of burden, speaking with human voice, restrained the prophet's madness. These are waterless wells, hurricane-driven winds from which the gloom of darkness is reserved. For as they utter arrogant nonsense, they entice through appeal to immoral passions of the flesh those who have barely escaped from those who live in error. While they promise them liberty, they are themselves slaves of corruption. For a person is a slave to whatever overpowers him. You serve spirit? And you do it for money? Oh, spirit has overpowered you. This is how you make your living now? You walked away from what? A regular job? To do a loftier one? With the promise of what? Ascending? What goes up must come down. Which way is up? Do you know these are all questions, people? This is a bowl, or a ball, as they say, a planetary sphere in the heavens. It rotates on an axis. The people in Australia are down under. When they flush the toilet, it is said that the water goes in a counterclockwise direction, as opposed to in the northern hemisphere. So what's up and what's down? What's your point of reference? Come on, people. Answer these questions, because you're so astute and so in tune and so very much aware. For if those who have escaped the contaminants of the world through the knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ are again entangled and overcome by them, then their last condition becomes worse than the first. And you know damn well you have re-entangled yourself. I told you, in the snare. The life of an empath? Oh, please. For it would be better for them never to have known the way of righteousness than, after knowing it, to turn back from the holy commandment that was imparted to them. I told you, you would have been better off saying you were an atheist than saying that you were a formless religious person. And now you sitting there saying you know the way, and you cobblestoning something together that has nothing to do with anything other than your own wishful thinking. And the things that you put together only work for a moment, as to get you further down the rabbit hole, Alice, as you are wandering in Wonderland, trying to figure out Who's Tweedledee and who's Tweedledum? What's the behind the looking glass? What time is it? What's driving you mad? In their case, the true proverb is realized. A dog returns to his own vomit, and the scrubbed sow to wallowing in the mire. You know what that scripture means, don't you? I don't applaud you for returning to your roots, sullied as they were. I don't rejoice in that. I just understand it. I have no problem with the fact that you wanted to go back to what you were because it was familiar to you. It felt right. It was always feeling right to you. It didn't stop you from dying before. It didn't stop you from being persecuted before. It didn't stop you from living a painful life in existence before. It became what you knew. It became what was normal for you. It became what you now use to justify everything that you do. The fact that you're at war in all manner of front in this world. Sins of the flesh, desires. You want property. You want privilege. You want power. You want to wield that which is the will of God as if you are God. You return to type the Romans, the Egyptians, the Greeks. They all fashioned God in the image of mankind. They had many gods. They identified with them. Now, does that mean the light of Christ is the way? Not for you. You've already established that you don't feel that way. It is not your way. Your way is the one that you're living. Your way is what's going to get you out. Oh yeah, you're going to get out. But to where are you going? Like I said, I've seen this world cracked and burning. It's in the future. I see beyond timelines. I know exactly what my Father has done. And He has set it in motion. Do I know the hour? No. Do I know how many souls? I know He moved souls. I know there's souls coming back. I know what the progression of the story is. I've already told you that. I told you that there are people here, good people, that are going to die, and they are dying. They're dying left and right. You call them innocent and kind and good, yeah. Why should they suffer at the hands of you? You who are hell-bent on self-destruction. You will either bear witness to it or participate in it. One or the other. For those of you who bear witness to it and anguish in it, it's not going to be a pleasant ride or a pleasant experience because you have to basically just stay out of it. You stay out of Spirit's way because my Father's Spirit is working. The angels of death are in the world. The devil is working overtime. I told you, all these so-called spiritual people who believe they command angels are only talking to those who belong to Lucifer, the fallen. Doreen figured that out, but she figured it out too late. I told you, she's working the flip side. She's looking for Jesus. Her Jesus, her moment with Jesus came and went. She keep posting pictures of a white Jesus. Do you know what happens when you post a picture of what something is supposed to look like? You expect to see that version. You ain't looking with spiritual eyes, or you have no desire to because you already know your ass is out. If you look at my black ass and you know it is very black, and you say, I can't stand you, well, that means you can't come with me, can you? the shame and the anguish is yours in possession. See, you all call yourself white supremacists or nationalists or neo-Nazis or whatever the hell you want to call yourself, and take to the streets marching down about the Jews will not erase us. No, they ain't gonna erase you. They ain't gonna replace you. Ain't nothing to replace you. Christ did take on your sins at one time for you to have learned better. But if you return to that kind of mentality, that's an army. You do realize that, don't you? They're as fucked up in the head as what you say ISIS is, or ISIL, whatever you want to call them. And you always want to sit there and say, well, they are this particular type. ISIL had many recruits. Still does. They call them sleeper cells. And they look like you. They come from various walks of life and various nationalities. They ain't just these Middle Eastern people that you want to sit there and demonize. There's a lot of good people out of the Middle East. You just don't know who they are. You ain't trying to know who they are. Because you so busy being angry and defensive. Even Israel is guilty of that. And they were supposed to be the ones who knew God first. Christ came out of the Jews. They think that they did not sully themselves in the way that they actually called themselves trying to manipulate that story. That they got the Romans to do the dirty work because they already knew. As far as they were concerned, they said they demonistic anyway. We want them to use him as an example so that we don't lose control over what we have. Oh, Israel is guilty of a lot of shit, people. They really are. They saw Jesus as a prophet. You think God did not send prophets among them that they had problems with later on in various powers and positions of authority? Moses was a prophet. We've got all that stuff with you. I got many tapes out there going over Bible scripture with you. You act like you don't understand what a story is. My father is the ultimate dreamer, the lucid dreamer. I told you, he recasts the roles. He cans you in your own water. He didn't just say that that's what he was doing. That's what he did. Now, it is written in Peter. If you read, the various books, it's about the stone that you build yourself to be, what you harden yourself to be. You've cast yourself in a particular light. You say you are accepted just as you are. You're no longer clay to be molded. Now you're being fired and you're being fixed into a particular role. And that's how you will be consumed or ultimately live. Everlasting life as a gift was never about you being some hard ass with an agenda or a mission to conquer all, to live better than others, to exploit it, to write new books like Oprah did. Oprah is her Super Soul show is really hysterical. Her Super Sundays, because she has everything on there. You ain't supposed to have everything on there. But you look to her as an epitome. Something to ascribe to. Tyler Perry said he hang up that dress. That's what he said. He said, I don't want to be Medea's age playing Medea. Let's see if you can stay away and stay out of that dress. Mr. Perry. With your own private studio, on your own private island, and your various mansions and whatnot. Yeah, God is good. But you have to understand something. If he is paying you out, I mean, and untold wealth, and you think that it's some kind of reward, when it may not be just that. For some people, yeah. Depends on what they do with it. You know. But it's not always about what is it? Public spectacle. Here I am at this game, or here I'm at this match. I know these people. They know me. Oh yeah. See, sometimes you are poised to be an example in another's life for what they need not subscribe to or should have saw as something to want to achieve. Colette Barry did that with Deanna Terrell. She was like, oh, you want to be up here like me? Yeah, she out there. She has a little channel. She'll be on Facebook. And she'll be posting videos and stuff. And a little radio show. I met her. I know who she is. Yeah, she wanted to be just like Colette. She wanted to live that dream. She talks to angels and all kind of shit. All kind of stuff. I told you, see, just because you can do something don't mean you should do it. I told you, I didn't want to read those boys. I did. And the other one I told you, he ain't been right since. He had that exchange with me. He was laying in the bed yesterday like he looked like he lost his best friend. Oh, yeah. He taking care of business. He working on his project. And his friend laying in bed nursing a headache. Here's a countdown in place, people. My Father will have what he wants. And I told him, I'm going to make sure you get it. What are you talking about? I'm talking about you. The wicked will be punished, and those who have stayed the path in truth, they will have everlasting life, as we promised them. I told my Father, I said, I can't do this work. He said, oh, yes, you can. You can do it with me. And I know that you have had your concerns about where you stood with me. And I did. I had major concerns because the thing is, see, we were intertwined, interconnected. I had to realize that certain thoughts that I had were not my own. Certain feelings or desires were not my own. It came from knowing you. When I was being separated from you, and I started coming back into my own mindset, then I was like, I don't want that. You understand what I'm saying? I started saying, I don't want that. The one thing that I did want that stayed consistent and true was my Father, my God, who guides my every step, who told me, you're not going out on the street. You're not sleeping in that truck. And every time I thought I would, no. He said, I already pinned the tail for you. You have nothing to worry about. Can you say the same? Are you following false prophets and false teachers? Did you study any of that Bible for what's there? Not worried about what's not there. What some council put together. Still trying to enslave a mindset. I mean, Trevor Noah making jokes about how the Pope don't like people kissing that ring. And bowing down to him, he pulls back real quick. It's on the Daily Show. He showed it. He said it's like a video game. He makes jokes about it. But that stuff is real. Come on, people. Christ said, do not bow down to me. The Pope is more Christ-like in that respect. I don't want you bowing down to me. I had somebody actually say that to me one time, talking about, oh, you want me to bow down to you. I didn't want that. I don't want that. I'm not God. You take to a knee for him. Paul Van Zandt posted that the other day. You take to a knee for God. I'm not God. I'm his son. Prophet. You know, throw light in the way. Now, I get on my knees. My father tells me all the time, he said, you look up to me like you always do. He knows. I look up to the heavens. When he struck me that first time, told me that he needed me to get on my job and start studying, because I was resistant. When I sat in that park, I was walking for my health. Diabetic flare up. I knew my body was changing. It was going against me, because I was trying to resist. I sat on that park bench and looked up to the heavens, and I could see angels everywhere. And I said, I feel like my father's calling me. And he was. And he told me, then you go home. That's when I still had a home. My mother was still alive. You go home and you spend time with her. Because he knew it was going to be hard for me to let go of her. 30 years. 30 years he prepped me for her departure. That he was going to call her back home to the heavens. And he did. She was a ripe old age. Yeah. Where is she? She's lying in wait. Will she be back? Possibly. You know, she's not less of a God-fearing woman where she is. She didn't really get her full reward here that she was entitled to. So, if I were a betting man, which in some ways I am, yeah, more than likely she will be back to receive a bit of peace on earth without all this madness that's going on now that you don't understand why good people are dying. As you're sitting there waging wars on drugs and DUIs, drunk driving, and shoddy workmanship when it comes to, I don't know, planes falling out of the sky because there's no indicator light. I mean, you have to think about all these things, people. You have to think about this world at large. You have to think about who's running the country. And at the same time, they never do anything wrong. Though they'll tear you a new one when they think that you're not on their side. But say something favorable. That you like the best thing since sliced bread. And at the same time, they can see good and evil on both sides. Yeah. And the Chicago PD and the mayor can't understand why you didn't get that little gay black boy his comeuppance, because we had a case against him. Why would you seal a file? Oh, but he ain't out of the woods yet because there's still a federal investigation. Is that wishful thinking on your part? Seriously. You really need to rethink your logic when you sit there and say, now I'm for truth, justice, and the American way, when you ain't still are not prosecuting your own. The most guilty of the guilty. Criminals can't rate themselves and give themselves a favorable mark, because they're always going to have somebody they have to go up against that is one of their own. Your associations are known. Your friendships are known. Your ties are known. Whether you want to acknowledge them or not. You're always doing these surveys. And we still putting out information. People tell you all the time, don't put all your information out there. But you do it anyway. Posting pictures, telling your age, where you go to school, where you eat, where you're vacationing. And then when you come home and somebody done broke into your shit, then you sitting there saying, well, somebody broke into my shit. Yeah, they knew you weren't at home. And they knew what you had because you posted it. I thought you said you were a good student. The world tells you what it is. It tells you what it's all about. Apple has a new credit card with no numbers on it, just a chip. You ever notice that? Oh, I want one of those. I want anything Apple. Usually they got all the money. Now they need to lend us money for us to buy more of their stuff. I ain't got no Apple shit. I don't have Apple. I have an Amazon card that my friend gave me at Christmas. I'm like, why would you give me this Amazon card? What am I going to look at with these people? And he also had given me an Echo. That shit's gone. I told y'all, when they sold that storage locker, whoever got that locker, they got a shitload of stuff at a bargain price. And some people told me I still owe them. I don't owe you shit. You were stupid. You sold it in blind auction. You sold off a lot of shit. My shit, I know. It's figurative. It's literal. It's you. You've given up your tithes, people. You followed those false prophets and teachers. They still out there teaching. They ain't going nowhere. And you still buying into it. I told you, what got you here is not going to get you out. And you still believe that these people can get you out because they can see something. They can only see what Spirit shows them. They have a vision board. Do you not know how much they disclose to Spirit that they want? And it's all earthly. They ain't looking for no loftier goal. What does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? That's a statement, people. Stuff. It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Do you know what that statement means? A rich man has too much stuff. Camels were beasts of burden back in the day when people were nomadic. They had to pack everything up and move to more fertile lands. The eye of the needle was usually the archway or the gateway into a new territory. Are you not paying attention to me? They didn't have all that shit. Rich people have to worry about where their shit is and if it's secure. Who's watching over it? You got massive break-ins all over Southern California right now, not to mention other places. People will show up in your house and take your shit because they know you on the road making more money. They ain't worried about it. You flashing that gas, you flashing jewelry, you flashing all kind of shit. Why? Now, I'm going to tell you to be paranoid? No, I'm just telling you. There's a price for living so well. And you're going to pay it. There's many ways to get at you. It can cost you everything. I think there was some story about I guess one of them Real Housewives people who had to downsize. They lost their home in the Thousand Oaks or whatever, or Malibu. And now they live like in a 2-bedroom condo. I'm like, what? Are you for real? And you, what, you want me to feel sorry for this person? Rich people problems. I'm telling you, people, you might want to read 2 Peter chapter 2. Read it and read it and read it again. Just like I told you with Galatians 5. 2 Peter 2. I told you, my Father is proceeding with his judgment. He already told me that. And that dream, which I didn't need anybody to help me to interpret, because he already taught me how to interpret my own dreams. Just like he taught me how to read cards and read energy and all that kind of stuff. Because he called to me. He prepared me way before I got to any of those events with those other people. Yeah, I have real gifts. Don't we all? You either know how to use them or you don't. And at the same time, you either try and profit off of them or you don't. Well, I'm profiting off of mine, but not in the way that you think. Because mine truly do serve my Father, who is God, the only God there is, the one who imparted the gifts to me. He gave me plenty of time to learn and to grow and advance over many lifetimes. Can you say the same? And even as you heard the word of truth and you said, it sounds like, and then you gravitated toward it. Well, just like you gravitated toward it, then why did you all suddenly slingshot away? Why did you return to your own vomit? I see dogs do that shit all the time. They'll throw up and they'll go back and, it's disgusting. Just like they'll take a dump and then turn around and put their nose in it. You have to think about these things, people. And you have identified yourself as learning from these animals. They're your guides. They're your treasured members of your family and more. Why would you identify yourself with that which is supposed to be? Well, I ain't gonna say something that you just persecute. No, you take care of them. They take care of you. They have a task. But the thing is, you don't sit there and call them your fur babies, because the thing is, you didn't give birth to them. They either come to you naturally or they don't. And none of dogs like all people. They're dogs that will actually have a problem with me and start barking. And I look at them like, I don't know why you're barking at me, because I'm not barking at you. And the owner has to get them under control. I'm free to walk these streets just like you are. You don't own this world. And you definitely don't own me. Yeah, I talk to the animals. I tell them exactly where I'm coming from. And the ones that are good, I know they are good. I'll speak to them. I don't have a problem with that. So, if they're members of your family, they're members of your family. But the thing is, they're your members. Yeah, I ain't got no dogs. I ain't got no cats. I don't have any friends, really. I mean, I have people that I'm friendly with. But, you know, it's just a title. It's either backed by something or it's not. Y'all still trying to figure out who is true in your life and who is not. It's a process, people. This is going to take time, over time. And the thing is, you're going to be mad as it progresses. Because the thing is, it's not going to get easier. It's going to get tougher. Because he's thinning the herd. As all these good people are checking out, you know what that leaves. And the ones who left behind, they ain't thinking about you. They sitting on committees and they are heads of departments of education cutting major funded Special Olympics and things of that nature and trying to justify it in Congress. Can't really stop them. Oh, they can hold committees and stuff. They can sit there and go over all this stuff with you. But Congress really don't have the power that they're supposed to. They're supposed to have the power of the purse. They couldn't stop Trump from reallocating those funds. They have to go to court. They got to get an emergency injunction. The Pentagon's already reallocating those funds for a wall that ain't going to mean anything. They just spend the money. It's a contract. And you ain't talking about Canada, and we already know there's holes in Canada too. They talked about people being able to fly up to Canada from Mexico and then just walk across the border. All they have to do is pay the airline ticket and, what he said, some kind of little entry fee. We ain't much money. If they got that kind of money, shit, $300 airfare or something like that, they said. It was funny. The story was hysterical. And then they showed the border. It was like, it was a little obelisk. On one side it said United States, on the other side it said Canada. You rely on the people up there to sit there and say, oh, that didn't look right. You just walk into the country. See, this shit is funny. So y'all sitting there spending money under the ideal that you actually securing something. You ain't securing shit. It's just how stupid you are. Anyway, enough said. 2 Peter. That's the passage that I'm going to post, and that's what you need to look at. And you need to understand who your teachers are. And you need to understand why they're working so hard as they work for spirit. Your spirit, because you're taking care of them. You're going to continue taking care of them until you wise up. And you're going to realize the one you should have been taking care of. Well, you say, well, I protected myself from you. Yeah, you did. Now, do I take pleasure in that? I don't take pleasure in your loss. But at the same time, I think it's hysterical that you called yourself guarding against me. And you let all these other motherfuckers run rimshot over you. And now you sit there trying to say, well, no, we changing the future. We bringing healing to the planet. Okay, you keep believing that. You believe whatever the hell you want. Because that's all it is. You just making your way to hell. You're going to enjoy it when you get there, I'm sure. Because then you can spend eternity trying to annihilate each other. But without a body, that's all it is. You're just wrestling with your own thoughts. Intermingled. Just one cohesive, insane mindset. And you're going to sit there and about, oh, I'm thinking something new. Let me think something new. I'm at peace. And somebody's sitting there stabbing you. Oh, I told you, I really have no idea who you are, what you're going to be ending up with. But it's not my problem, is it? You have a nice day.